I just fling him at you. Look at all these people. Me and Dan were so interesting he fell asleep within 2 minutes.
Coach,
Hi John, how you doing?
I'm good. Good to see you, man. I mean, obviously Conor McGregor fight weeks have not been normal fight weeks for a long time, but of course the pandemic has changed things dramatically. But I wonder, positive, negative. I mean, is it like because I don't feel like you feel the hoopla quite as much because you don't have the throngs of fans and that sort of thing. But I would think maybe concentration, all those things would be simpler. So how does this compare to a normal Conor fight week?
Yeah, I think whatever situation you're in, there's positives and negatives, and then you can choose which one you want to focus on. So the positives are it's a little bit quieter, it's a little bit calmer, you have a little bit more time to spend on yourself, and you're not kind of wasting energy with other things. So that's what we're choosing to focus on, and this one has been a little bit different. I have my son with me, and he's got his family with him, and it's a really nice. It's very calm or something. I'm not sure how to describe it exactly. Like I just came from the pool. I was up there with him and his family, me and my family. Normally fight week is there's more tension and there's things going on, and now I have my son that's eating a what is this? I guess it's a flamingos, and that's all we have right now.
That's fun. Talk about the fight night itself, right? Because Conor's such a unique guy in terms
Fight
of
morning.
Yeah, fight morning, I guess. The mentality, when we think about him as the guy that thrives under the spotlight like nobody else, right? And it's still a spotlight. There's still some fans, but it's not 20,000 people, madness, chaos. Is it going to be, do you think, a bigger challenge for him to be in that moment and to have that type of mental focus that he's so famous for?
Well, to be honest, when initially it was 0 fans, there was, again, the positive and negative thing. You can sort of be like, that's a shame, just that deafening sound. But that very quickly turned into like, this is going to be totally unique to hear. And I have to be honest, I was a little bit interested to hear him talking the whole time, which he does famously. It'd be somewhat unique for me that I just don't even bother trying to shout instructions during mid-round unless he's like right there on the fence because it's drowned out. To hear the impact of the shots. So there was a lot of things that was going to be very unique to this. Now I believe there's a couple of thousand fans in, but I still think we will hear and feel more than we ever have before. So I'm looking forward to watching it back.
When this thing started building up, I thought it was interesting, right? Because you were talking to Oscar over, and you talked about how the mental challenges that Dustin was going to face, and I was curious, like, was that just a kind of an observation you had immediately, or are you kind of getting into the mental warfare side? We think about Conor being so great at kind of getting into his opponent's head. I mean, was that a little advanced strategy, or is that really just an honest feel?
It was just, like we had dealt with a rematch when Conor lost an 8, and then there's, that's going to play in your mind, and there was conversations of that during the period of build-up towards the rematch and what we're going to fix, and that's what Dustin is going through now. He's obviously had a loss, and he's coming back, and he's trying to make the adjustments necessary. And so I was a genuine passing comment, and Dustin's done well. He's had a couple of rematches, I believe, off losses, and he's done well. So it was a genuine curiosity, because not only was he rematching somebody who had beat him in a very quite devastating way, but had mentally traumatized him almost in the build up to it. So I was curious to see how he would deal with that, and this one has a different feel to it. There isn't that kind of there wasn't the sort of giant. If anything, it's stepbrothers, they become best friends, and the charity element and about family man, and it's a different feel to it this time. But I guess it will still be hanging over him a little bit. He's felt that power, and that power has increased, as it has for Dustin moving up a weight class. But for Conor, it's really at an extraordinary level, to be honest. I'm really excited to see it when I'm not shouting at him, take it easy, and he's wearing 18-ounce gloves and people are still flying across the ring. So to see you with 4-ounce gloves without me having to worry about the sparring partner, that's exciting.
No matter what happens in this fight, we know there's more big fights for Conor in the future, right? I mean, big opportunities. He still talks about boxing, right? Like, that's something he really wants to do. Is that challenging for you? I mean, are you open to him trying to do both, or is it difficult, like, to get 100% out of a guy if he's not really focused in one discipline or the other?
Well, right now it was MMA, and that was the focus, and here we are. if there's a boxing fight in the future, yeah, it does weigh on my mind a little bit that you're going to be thinking, well, how far after the boxing fight does MMA come back? And how long will we be without grappling? Of course, there's so many more aspects to MMA than boxing. But who am I? I'm not going to be the one to tell him not to explore his different outlets and wants to get that boxing title and so on. I suppose it just becomes down to some planning and some preparation, and hopefully I'm can be still in his ear for maybe I get him for 1 day a week during a boxing training camp, and we can do a little bit of grappling. But that's just problem solving, focusing on pros rather than cons.
Yeah.
It's another challenge to look forward to in the future.
Last thing for me, more about you. Man, someday this Conor McGregor ride is going to come to an end, right? Do you see yourself progressing beyond that, or would you consider hanging it up at that time as well? I just wonder, after you've been to the mountaintop, right, the biggest star in the sport, is it hard, no disrespect to anybody else you're working with, to
Sure.
go back in the gym and go, we're not
Yeah.
there anymore?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I almost feel I'll try and word this carefully. It's almost like a relief to get that out of the way. Some coaches will spend their career looking to chase that world title, and I kind of got it early. I kind of got all of this early, and so that's sort of done now. And now I have an incredible group of guys in their late teens and early 20s that are coming through, and you sort of have that weight off your shoulders that now it's just the sport aspect that I've obviously learned from being around Conor a lot on this side of things and promotional side of things and so on. But now it just becomes really about the sport and just trying to enjoy it with the next group of guys. So I hope I'm talking to you for another while to come. Who knows? Maybe this guy in a couple of years.
Yeah.
John, what do you believe Dustin's biggest weapon is? Dana Cormier was very high in his check right hook compared to Conor's counter left as the two biggest factors in this fight.
I think his biggest attribute is that he can he pours on a hell of a lot of pressure. That's certainly something to take note of. He's been in some wars lately where he has been able to sort of almost walk through some shots and just pile on a whole lot of pressure. Do we get into a big technical discussion with a few days to go? Probably not. Look, the man is very skilled everywhere. He's a tremendous fighter. Look at what he's done since Conor. It's kind of funny almost how it's the Conor graduate program where you look at Holloway, you look at Dustin that have graduated through that, and where some have fallen away and they've took that loss and that failure brought them down to quitting. The others have taken that failure and turned it into a lesson and worked their way up towards using that fail to work their way up to great success. Almost like winning or learning.
What'd you say?
That's how we do it, son. That's how we do it. Still available in all good bookstores. But yeah, it's a new fight and it's a similar fight. But I feel with Dustin he's good everywhere. We've seen him got some takedowns and Justin didn't really kind of solidified him, but he can, and that Justin's a high-level caliber wrestler. He's got a great guillotine attack. He's dangerous everywhere. There's no looking past Dustin. I'll steal Conor's phrase, and it's looking through Dustin.
Well, going off of that, the big Khabib news, do you guys have to have a conversation about that during the week, or do you have a conversation when that comes out where Dana's basically said Khabib wants to be impressed by one of the lightweights?
I was kind of find that funny. It's like, what, like you do balloon animal tricks in the cage or something? Think of a number, 27. I'm impressed. Here's something that I'm trying to do is, and I will use the first Dustin fight to bookend this Dustin fight, is that 5, 6, 7 year period to me is a blur. I remember everything about Dustin 1. I remember flying there with Artem. I remember seeing the Palace Casino Hotel for the first time. I actually thought that was a nice casino. That's how, per my understanding of the scene was. And then going to the Red Rock and seeing that and just being blown away, meeting all you guys, doing chats, doing weigh-ins. All of that is very, very clear to me. I don't remember anything about the Seaver fight. I don't remember anything about the Holloway fight. It was a blur. It was always like you were arriving there and people were saying, and who are you going to go for next? And what will it be after? And I was always living in this imaginary future. And what I'm trying to do now is actually enjoy this a little bit. And I've had a tremendous time in Dubai with a few weeks there. I'm having a fantastic week. It's great seeing all you guys again. It's amazing to be back in the sport again. It was a very slow 2020, as it was for all of us. And just to be here and have my son here and Connor with his family and you know, the old team, you know, it was Sergey and Roddy and stuff. So I'm really embracing every moment of it. I can't wait for the fight. I'm really looking forward to the press conference we're going to after this. No doubt there'll be some great sound bites. So that's what I'm doing. And then when that's over and a couple of weeks, a couple of months' time, whatever the next one is, I'm going to enjoy that one too.
John, a lot of the talk from Team Poirier is talking about the longer the fight goes, the better it is for Dustin and Connor's conditioning and stuff. Is that perspective based on an outdated version of Connor? Like, is that not a relevant take to have anymore on this version of Connor we have here today?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of false hope. Like, you know, he went up a weight class with Nate, and yeah, he got tired. He was inefficient. A couple of months later, he came back, went 5 rounds with extremely tough guy, and then since then, he did 10 rounds with one of the best boxers of all time. Got whatever he went, you know, with Khabib. Like, who was Khabib? Not Khabib went in and put Justin away. Dustin. What's his name again? Dustin. He put Dustin away a lot quicker. What does that mean? Do we take a lot from that? No, we don't. This is this fight. I will tell you that Connor is in tremendous shape, incredible shape. And what's been a lot of fun is because of the guys we took on that are part of the team now, the fast team, is that we have really good data for almost 5 years now, where we're measuring every, you know, whether it's VO2, whether it's his waking heart rate, and so on. So this engine that they're facing, combined with where he is mentally, combined with the power he's generating, combined with the fight IQ, combined with the fight technique, I don't know if I'd wish to be in there any longer than it's going to take.
John, given what you know now and the time that's sort of passed.
How's it going? Didn't recognize you there with the mask on.
How are we doing?
I'm good.
Congratulations on the birthday. I still haven't seen you since. Your book, Win or Learn, of course, is available in all good bookstores. What
Yes.
have you won or learned from the Khabib fight, and would you like to do it all over again?
You know, about being focused throughout the camp and not letting distractions get in the way, which we've done to a different level for this fight. Then I would say the Cowboy fight certainly was a new level of commitment and love and enjoyment of the process. And that's been dwarfed by this one because the Cowboy one was a couple of months. This fight is a year. Because nothing stopped after January. The world stopped, but Connor didn't. We didn't. Certainly the intensity would go down for a little while. But it's been ramping up now since the summer. And to have done that without really veering off course at all for 6 months, if you'd have told me that's what was going to happen after the Khabib fight, I probably wouldn't have believed you because he wasn't able to do that at that time. He was too many things getting in the way and too many distractions getting in the way. So to be able to return to that now, I don't think I would have believed that when after that loss. I didn't think I'd be maybe even back here again, and yet here we are with somebody that's at the really finding a complete remotivation, self-motivation, and really figuring out what it is that drives him to do this. All the glitter and the belts and the money is good, but it's not what drives him, and he's really figured that out now. And I think when he has figured it out, a man that's self-motivated that way is a very dangerous man.
Deep down, do you think it will happen that Khabib will come back, or is he done?
It's not even a deep thought for me. It's not a thought for me. It's really not a thought for me. He had a great career, and if he's done, I wish him nothing but continued success in the future.
What's your thoughts on the current main event?
Yeah, it's really interesting. Really interesting. I'm excited to see that. I was actually thinking in my head, I'd be like, when we're in the locker room, that'll be on the TV. I wonder, kind of glance at it. But I'll try not to. I'll focus on what we're doing. But it's just an intriguing fight. I really like Hooker. I love that whole team. You know, they're incredible. They kind of come out of nowhere, and now they're winning belts all over the place. And now Chandler, you know, after doing so well in Bellator and to come over, how does he stand up to one of the better guys in the UFC? So there's a lot of stories there, you know, and does Chandler go in and just blow him out of the water, and then you're thinking, oh shit, is this guy to just jumping ahead of everybody now? Just how does Hooker do with that level of wrestling and that level of the intensity that Chandler brings? It's a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it.
And you touched briefly on the Pacquiao fight there. that I think a lot of MMA fans were, well, I'm sure a lot of them were happy that the Floyd Mayweather fight happened, but we kind of left wondering what if Conor had carried on in MMA afterwards, and with the possibility of that happening, are you all concerned that it could derail him, especially considering how refocused and recommitted he is to the sport, especially during the year off?
So just between us, yes. I would, of course, love him just to do MMA. I'm an MMA fanatic. I enjoy watching the odd boxing fight, but it seems so, just the fact that I'm so involved in MMA, it seems so incomplete now. But I, of course, still have a massive amount of admiration for them. I think they're the toughest fighters in the world, toughest athletes in the world. Because I think wrestling it does something to you endurance-wise, which is just sickening. If you've anybody who's done some hard wrestling rounds, it's that while being punched in the face. It's incredible what the guys do. That being said, I love MMA. I love Conor doing MMA. It's just so much more interesting to me. So that's my answer to that.
I believe we had pro boxing sparring partners for Conor and stuff.
Yes.
Talk to me about the rationale behind that. Is that kind of having one foot or one arm each for Conor? Is that something he wanted, or is that something from your perspective a striking thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's of course plenty of benefits. When you bring in a world-class jiu-jitsu player, is that because you're kind of one eye looking at doing the IBJJF World Championships? No, it's just you want to go against guys who are highly skilled in the individual arts. Did it have benefit because we possibly are getting ready to fight a southpaw boxer after this? Yes, it was a nice. Conor's life is full of these kind of weird coincidences. That there was talk of a fight with Pacquiao. All of a sudden, Dustin pops up looking for a rematch, and then it was going to be a sparring match in Dublin, and then it was on Fight Island, and now the Pacquiao fight is looming in the future, and it was, God damn it, how do you just keep doing this? You just keep nailing things, So the great Phil Sutcliffe, fully back involved in the training camp as he has been now for quite a while. There's probably if you're getting ready for an MMA fight followed by a boxing fight, it's probably a little bit easier because on your days where you're doing boxing training, that's great. That's helping with a future boxing fight. The other way around is probably tougher. If you're doing all boxing training with the thoughts of a MMA fight to follow a boxing fight, a little bit harder because the grappling side of things is quite injurious. And if you're getting ready for a multi-million-dollar boxing fight, you don't want to be doing too much grappling. You hurt a finger or something. I drifted off there. I hope I answered the question.
Yes. I'm also curious as well. You're talking about how his commitment is unchanged. Talk to me about how that really came to pass. Is that like a moment for him where he had some introspection, or did you have a discussion where he went, like, if we're really going to do this, are we going to do it?
Well, like most things, the answer must come from within. The decision must be made by the self. If somebody barking at you or trying to motivate you or trying to convince you of something, it's never going to work unless you do. And he, for whatever reason, had this realization. There's a great Alan Watts speech on YouTube. You can watch it at some stage yourself. And he talks about when people get fame or money and you take somebody through a process. Well, what are you going to do with it? Well, I'm going to buy this and I'm going to travel here. Okay, and then what will you do? Well, then I want to go to this place and I want to eat that food. Okay, and then what will you do? And eventually you come back to being where I want to do something that makes me happy. Okay, well, what is that? What is it that you like? Fighting. He likes fighting. He likes competition. He likes martial arts. And I think he's really stripped away everything else and still enjoys his shiny things every now and again. But I think what really gives him drive and passion and enjoyment right now, he's beginning a cutting process, and that's the man that has probably more money than all of us in this room combined. And yet he's going to put himself through that process. Why? What's the benefit? Another belt? He's got belts. Another win? He's had big wins. So why? Love, enjoyment, fun. That's what he wants to do. Clearly.
I know you've been asked the Khabib question numerous ways, but I just wonder you talk about...
I'll tell you who Khabib was another time. You missed all that.
Is there a part of it where, avenging that defeat, is that like a primary motivator? Do you think that's something he wants to do eventually, or does it not matter?
We don't, I'll be honest with you, it's not something that me and him sit down and go, what about that loss? What can we do?
I don't know if the events that quick, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And then that was then, and this is now. And look, if it was to come around, I don't think he's going to refuse it. But he's had other losses, and he's not, screaming after them. I don't really see that in him now. That was then, and we have our ups and our downs in life, and I think that's what the whole journey is about, isn't it? And we try to pick ourselves up again, and we try to get some lessons from it, and we try to learn. And who knows? Like I said, you can lose yourself in this imaginary future, and try to figure out everything, and it's not going to work. Today is today. We got a fun press conference coming up. We got not the most fun weight cut coming up. Well, I'm not saying the weight cut's not going to be hard. It's just that that's never fun. Nobody gets into martial arts going, I really want to get into a hot bath and shed a few pounds of water. No, you get in because you want to do martial arts. And then we have an amazing fight on Saturday night or Sunday morning, wherever in the world you're watching it. And then we get back on the biggest yacht in the world, apparently. So it's not a bad life.
John, a bit off topic. Can you give us an update on Gunnar Nelson? Because we haven't seen him or heard from him for a long time, and a lot of people are wondering when he's going to come back.
Yeah, actively looking for a fight now. So I was only chatting to Hallie, father/manager, the other day, and he goes, make sure you tell the guys that we're looking for a fight. So, world, Gunnar Nelson, let's get him a fight. His gym literally just reopened last week. Iceland did a very severe lockdown, and he wasn't able to train. Wasn't able to train martial arts. He was still doing lifting and stuff. Actually, he is jacked now. He's huge, and he used to be the guy pointing at people saying, "Oh, everybody's cutting too much weight." It's like, you motherfucker, can't wait now. So he's jacked now. So he's got to bring that down a little bit, which comes off when he starts doing grappling and boxing drills and so on. But late March, I think we're looking at Walker, March 27th. Sorry if I'm not supposed to say that. It's a maybe, yeah. Nothing signed yet. But it would be great to get Gunny. That was okay, thanks Tim. It would be great to get maybe Gunnar Nelson on that card too. Save me 2 trips to the States. Yay! Do you want to go to Vegas? No?
I think that's your answer.
Maybe not.
Alright guys. Perfect. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, everybody.